Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It's going to be a bit of a ramble on today. I was watching Celebrity Big Brother. It wasn't Celebrity Big Brother at all. It was I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Um, and it was showing Naughty Boy was getting really depressed about the other team. They're in two teams, the haves and the have not type team. They're in the have nots. And he was feeling like as if there was hatred coming from the haves um, because of him being set up for a task, and he was thinking about leaving. And what interested me, and this is probably why I thought Big Brothers, because I've seen this in Big Brother with their psychological tests, is how it shows how you can have anger at the wrong thing. He has anger at those people because he's not seeing that the real issue, the real problem is coming from the system, is coming from the game. They have to pick people to do tasks against each other. So it's not actually that the hatred is misplaced. He's thinking it's at the people, but they're actually doing what they're told. They have no choice in the matter. It's not they're choosing, and they're not. It's the game, the system that is set up that there has to be a competition, there has to be a winner and loser, and then the winner gets the prize and the loser gets nothing. And therefore, it's that system that he should be angry at and wanting to change. And I realized that this was a demonstration of how it happens in life, where often we have anger at people's individuals, but they're actually just following the system. Say you might have anger at politicians or officials and etc., but they're just following the game, the system that we live within, and they're bound by those rules and have to do those things. And often we misplace that anger rather than changing the real problem, the system, the game. We get depressed, or we feel that it's the problem of the people that are bringing that forward. So that was just interesting, that if anyone saw that, and just how in life we often do that, we feel anger, we feel depression, we feel stress at these things, but these people are merely players, and the world is a stage, as it were. And the system is the system of the life that we live in, everything, how it works, the of money, of working, of all these types of things that I talk about in these pursuits of truth. I've forgotten what the other thing I was going to talk about now. Hopefully it come, but I was going to talk about this. These things I was looking online. This it's called worldlifeexpectancy.com, and it lists the live world death tolls. It's really quite interesting when you see these figures of what people are dying of all the time, and it's not on the news. COVID, they put 200 people die, and we think that's really bad, and it is really bad, but we don't realize the amounts of people that are dying all the time. I've just put this for you can put it for year now or month. So in this month already, this is worldwide, there has been 1 million cardiovascular deaths, 500,000 cancer. Diabetes has killed 73,000 people this month in the world. I mean, I know there's 7 billion people, but you think of the amounts of numbers, and whereas how many people have died? Is it 1 million? It's coming up to 2 million people worldwide have died in 2 years of COVID-19. And look at all the endeavours, the money that's been put into pharmaceutical companies to try and find a cure and etc. And yet this is just 1 month. If I do it to a year, this year, cardiovascular has killed 15 million people worldwide. 15 million. That's far more than COVID. And what is cardiovascular? The heart. What is it normally to do with? Usually, because it could be a bit stress, but most notably, it's usually smoking, or it's usually health-wise, i.e. being overweight, or unhealthy eating, which is probably the most cause of it, cholesterol, and things like that. And that's to do with the food industry. When you go, if you ever have cholesterol that's high and you try and reduce your food intake, it's very difficult because of the patterns you've got into through the lazy eating of biscuits, of crisps, of the fact that most foods that are produced on the shelf for you to buy are unhealthy. They know, everyone knows, if they put the amount, like if I put it to now, how many people have died? I'll reset it now. One person's just died of cardiovascular. One person's died of cancer. Two, three now cardiovascular. It will just keep racking up. But that's not going to be on the news. But they should be doing something about that. Cancer. Nearly 7 million people have died this year already. Where's the big endeavor to try and, like with COVID-19, it was, we must do something. And the reason is because it affected all of us. You see, whereas with cardiovascular cancer, there's a sort of element of luck in these things, or bad luck, and also to do with choices, i.e., choices of how you eat, how healthy you are, how sedentary you are, whether you smoke, and etc. Not all of it, of course, but with COVID-19, it was something that could affect everyone, and that's why they decided to get this big involvement and pour money, billions, into these pharmaceutical companies to find a cure, and they found one so quickly. But where's the same effort for these things that are happening all the time in a far greater scale? Where's the human endeavor? That's like when I was talking about this a few weeks ago, where Barack Obama was talking about humans trying to coming to the forefront of humans when there's a problem. There's a problem here with all these deaths that are happening and all these different things. But there's no solution. But yeah, I know there's pharmaceutical companies, etc., working on these things, but not to the same extent to COVID-19, not to the same urgency that every death matters, every avoidable death matters. But the other thing I was going to talk about was I saw people talking about COVID-19 and that there's a person that died of COVID-19. I think it was a 15-year-old that had its heart had expanded and that caused their death. I just don't get it. The idea of I know that vaccines have problems. I know all medicines have problems. Even, if you're unlucky to have Stephen Johnson from a Nurofen, you can have that. But I don't get the argument. There's never going to be any medicine that is 100% for everyone. That's impossible because everyone's different. It's like the bees. Some people can die of a bee sting. Majority won't. Are you going to get rid of all the bees? Are you going to say all the bees are bad because of that? No, you're not. Some people can die of eating nuts because they have an allergy. So you're going to say all nuts are bad, you're going to get rid of them? No, that kind of common sense of like everything that we do, everything is never going to be 100% for everyone. But if the majority, so what I'm saying is you have to do your best to try and find a cure, but you're never going to find a cure that's not going to have some side effects to some people. And I know that's unfortunate. Some people will die of this, but majority are going to be safe. So I understand people being wary of vaccines and GPs these days, they want to give you, no matter what you've got, they want to give you tablets straight away. And I understand that. And there is an issue with that. And there's an issue with pharmaceuticals. I want pharmaceuticals to not be involved with money so that these issues aren't there. And I know there are dangers to taking these medicines. You read the lists of all the side effects you can get, and if you're lucky, you don't get any of them. Sometimes you will get them, sometimes it'll be fatal. And that's the risk that we all take when we take a tablet or we take something new. And it's all the best that we can do. Because your alternative is, if you're saying that one death is too many, then that means you get rid of all the medicines. And everyone then just goes back to the days of before, where there's no medicines. And when you have something, you just die. And everyone's equal that way. But that way doesn't, to me, seem the most logical. Unfortunately, we have to take that risk. If it's a small risk that 0.01% of us will die taking this medicine, but 99% of us will be okay. I know there's going to be arguments, people saying the immune system will do this and etc. And yeah, I know this issue of COVID isn't what it is to those people who are dying of it. It's killed 2 million. In the vast majority of the illnesses I've shown you, it's not. in the vast majority of 7 billion people, it's a 1% risk. But still, you never know. If there's something that we can do to help each other, I don't have a problem with medicines. I don't have a problem with pharmaceuticals, with people. I have a problem with the money aspect. I have a problem with how it's run. Medicines can save people's lives. It has saved people's lives. And if we're in pain, we go to that. And I know it can be abused, but we've also got to stop being stupid where we see one case and we're going to then use that case as like, wow, this is why why I'm an anti-vax, or this is why I'm against these things, because it makes no logical sense. The argument, you're just making it worse for people who maybe are trying to whistleblow real things. Maybe that's the danger and the power of social media. Well, no, I suppose everyone has their own view, but not everyone takes it responsibly in airing those views. But that's what brings me down a bit when I see these things, because it's within truthers, it's within non-truthers, it's within everyone. All of us have this capacity to mislead and, to use cherry pick, I think is the argument, confirmation bias. We have this human endeavor, maybe it's the way we're taught through schooling, through education, of this idea of picking one thing and then saying, well, because I've got this one thing, that means this. Whereas it doesn't. It's not as black and white as that. It's not as simple as that. And if you're trying to make a true argument, how can you just pick one or two cases? Or, there has to be some logic behind it. And there has to be the idea of what's best for everyone. How do we, it can be dangerous. You're putting on there that you're illustrating, say, one case of someone dying of taking COVID-19, which is going to happen because all medicines have this. Even the most trusted medicines, even paracetamol will have what someone may die of taking them. We're all taking these medicines. We're all taking these things. Even, food, cigarettes, all sorts of things that can kill you over time. So bees and nuts, as I already mentioned. So the danger is by you putting that is then you may stop someone from taking that medicine and then dying, or causing someone else to die for something that it's illogical. We will never get to 100%. So it just depresses me a little bit at how humanity is, and there's no real push for humanity to reach a place where we're all looking out for each other. There's no divisions. There's none of this little games and trying to be popular and trying to score points or trying to throw mud at something and using confirmation bias and cherry picking to, not just truthers do it, media does it, everyone seems to do it. So it leaves you with this idea that how can humanity ever reach any kind of greatness when it's plagued by these lies and misleading, this inability for us all to actually, well, maybe it's just impossible because we all have different levels of education, we all have different levels of intelligence and logic and things. And what I'm thinking of as is a utopia that can never be achieved. That humanity can never be a kind of place where everyone looks out for everyone. There's no need for money, there's no need for work, there's no need for all these things, that we will do things because we need to do things. We will look after each other as human beings because there's too many of us and there's too many different opinions, and it's never going to happen. So sometimes it's very depressing. On that note, take care, take it easy, God bless, the peace.